Halloween, and that means everyone is watching spooky movies. And while I could do an episode talking about a classic like, say, 1931's Frankenstein, I instead want to focus on the film that I view every Halloween. When you look at horror films, The Frighteners really does stand out, for a couple of reasons. The first, and to me most important, is that Jackson treats the film more as an adventure film than a straight-up horror film. When I say that, I don't mean the film abandons any creepy or scary things normally associated with horror films, but it is tied together with a sense of fun and adventure, and actually a slight mystery is tossed in as well. When you watch this movie, you aren't always on your guard, prepared for a scare, because often you are laughing, which in my opinion makes the scares all the better since you aren't always prepared for them. But any good adventure needs good characters, and The Frighteners certainly has those. Michael J. Fox is one of those actors who always turns in a solid performance, and The Frighteners is no exception. Frank is a fascinating character. In a lot of ways, he's kind of a jerk. He uses his gift of being able to talk to the dead to make money off of them. He promotes his business at funerals, and yet there's still a likable and heroic side to him that we see later on in the film. Once Frank figures out the Grim Reaper is killing people, he makes it his mission to stop him. It's also interesting to hear other characters talk about who Frank was in the past and how they view him now as a vile person, only to have the audience realize that despite not being the greatest person, underneath he's a hero. When your film story involves ghosts, speaking with the undead, the Grim Reaper, and so on, it's probably a good idea to have a relatively grounded character for the audience to connect to, and that is Lucy. Although we may be following Frank on his heroic journey, it's Lucy who acts as the audience's eyes and ears. Like us, she is new to this town and how things in it operate, and she is also quickly being introduced to the notion that the undead are real and you can speak with them. Trini Alvarado took a character that could have easily been boring and give her a lot of heart and strength that makes the viewer want to root for her. There are several other characters that I could look at, but Frank and Lucy are really the only two important to my analysis. What Peter Jackson did with The Frighteners is truly spectacular. For a genre of film that you can very easily get lost in a lot of cliches and overplayed moments, Jackson was able to make his horror film stand out. And he did this by giving us a complicated hero, a strong audience perspective character, a good sense of humor, and treated his horror film as an adventure. The Frighteners is one of those films that I feel more people need to see. It has laughs, action, and genuinely scary moments, making it, in my mind, the perfect Halloween film.
Well, sometimes, Frank, you see, when you go through a traumatic experience, it kind of alters your perception.